So here is the Yes Standard, and you know, I've talked a lot about this board over the years, and it's constantly evolved and changed, and in this particular stage of the Standard's life, it's kind of more of a mid-wide, and it's you know, it's a fun board. It feels pretty slow for my size 9s, even with responsive boots and bindings, but it's still not technically a mid-wide, but it's just a little slower. It's not, like I said, it's not as fun edge to edge. It's not as fun like in tight tree situations for small feet people like myself. It's not as fun in the half pipe, kind of transitioning from the top down, you know, kind of like bringing that edge over and coming back down. But everything else about it's really fun. It's got great edge hold. You can kind of see this mid-bite technology going on. Kind of from here to here. It tapers in the waist a bit and gives you more platform over your bindings. You can kind of see here. And so it's a little wider under the bindings, but the waist comes in a little bit, and it gives you edge hold and quicker turn initiation than you would have with a standard side cut. And you can see the base here. It's nice and smooth and fast. And you can see the camber profile. This table's slightly warped, but you can see this nice little bit of camber underneath. It's actually a little higher than it looks. And then you can kind of see how it kind of rockers up. And then you can also see, you know, here, you can see how the nose is a little more, there's a little more volume. It's a little bigger in the nose, a little smaller in the tail, but still the same width. So it's a true twin on side cut. And then you have 5 centered here and 2 slam back. So you can fit regular disc bindings in there, but you can't do this with mini discs. That would be kind of sketch going out with just 2, you know, inserts back here somewhere. I'd love to see like an additional 2 back here, you know, like so many do, and then you kind of highlight it that there's 2 set back here, so somebody with mini discs can get the same advantage as somebody with regular discs. But still, it's better to have this than to not have it, because look at this directional float you can get. This is like a true all mountain board with a centered side cut, the stance centered on side cut. It's a true twin between the feet. The tip and tail are just different, and so you can ride this almost like a true twin. It's not quite as good, but really close, and on groomer days, and then set it back on powder and get that less volume in the tail. The tail sinks a little bit more, and you get a good amount of directional float. And you can see set all the way back on this 56, you're looking at 21.5 inches. And then from 22 there and 17.5 there. So you're looking at 4.5 inches back on board, which is a lot. You know, for an all mountain board, that's kind of the upper end of the spectrum I've seen with all mountain boards. I rarely see much more than that. There's only a few, like maybe, you know, like the Never Summer Peacekeeper has 6 inserts and then a slam back, so I think it's like 5.5 inches back on board or something like that, but it's a little more. But you've got this tapered tail. It's not like totally, it acts different in powder than a true twin when it's set all the way back. It acts much more like a free ride board. So they're pretty close, and it's just a great one board solution if the stance width works for you, the width works for you. It's pretty wide, so I wouldn't recommend this for a size 9 unless you don't plan on riding trees in powder or making tight tree turns, and you know, you're okay with the slower turn initiation. That's fine. I would say this is better for like guys that are like 10 and up. Like 10 to 11 it would be like a great, you know, maybe 11.5 would be a nice sweet spot for this kind of board, because you would turn it much better. Like, for example, Grant, our 11-foot rider, loved this. So, and just felt this was like a perfect solution for him, because he could turn this really fast, where for some reason, why the Yes Greats works for me, I don't know. The 54 works great for me. I can turn it pretty quick. Not as quick as the old Greats, but there wasn't that much of a personality difference. This one versus the older normal waisted Yes Standard, or former normal, you know, more appropriate for a size 9. This just didn't work for me as much as the Greats did in the new wide shape. But still, it can work for a lot of people, and it's a really fun board. You can, you know, it's very versatile one board quiver. If the stance width works for you, if you have regular, normal discs bindings, and you know, you've got the right size feet, this is going to be a great board for you. That's the 2019 Yes Standard, and it hasn't changed from the 2018.